I wasn't ready.
You were ready. You were in the ready zone. You just weren't in the ready spot. Like.
Yeah, I know. I'm like trying to turn off my phone and everything.
Oh, that's a good point.
Make sure I don't have things going on.
It's such a cute intro. Like it starts and then just says, "Here you go,"
and then says, "I'm done."
Yeah, it's like a cat. Like that's the cat of all intros. It's really emotional. It kind of gets you, and then when you're kind of ready to kind of get into it all, it's like, never mind, bye, and it just kind of goes away, and you're like, oh, here we are. Okay, that's okay.
And I'm trying to fix my hair because I had it down. Now it's like time for a ponytail.
So oh, okay, okay.
Ratchy, but
I am turning off the speaker on my phone so it doesn't do all that jazz. Girl, I called you earlier. You know why I called you earlier? Let me tell you this.
You called me earlier, but I want to tell you why I didn't answer.
Okay, go ahead.
We were having the most amazing dinner. Hey, CPJ.
Hey, CPJ.
We were having the most amazing dinner. Hey, Joanne. Hi, Anita. And happy International Women's Day.
Woo, woo.
Fabulous ladies. Welcome to the show on this beautiful... Actually, it's kind of cold here. Ooh.
Really?
We'd like been like at 82 and it was nice and it was beautiful. And then you had some people complaining about the weather. So talking about it was too hot. And then the Lord said, okay, you whiny ass little bees. And then now we're at 50 degrees.
You know, the weather doesn't know what it wants to do. Or it does. It doesn't care what we want, though. It doesn't care about us.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, what was I saying?
What you were doing.
So, I mean, I just walked in from dinner. Local Lubbockites, if you guys have not been to Claraboya, it's at the downtown Hill Doubletree, like right there on 4th and Q. I mean, it's inside a hotel, and I know that sounds so weird, but I'm going to tell y'all right now. Jamie, I'm going to send you a picture of what I had. Okay. It is some of the best food you will put in your mouth. And today, it was kind of a special occasion because their menu can be pricey. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. But I met Eric's boss for the first time. And, you know, it's always kind of like when you recommend something and you're always kind of worried that it'll be a dud that night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
It was amazing. It was so good. So I just sent you a picture of what I had. And
it might be good if I
flavors
opened up Facebook.
That this food has are just unlike something that you've never had before. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
CPJ
I haven't seen the picture yet. I was just
shouting them out.
I was just saying that over what you said.
Yeah, no.
Give me a second. I'm going to share it. I see it now.
So I crave. They have some Brussels sprouts, and let me tell you what are in the Brussels sprouts. Okay. The Brussels sprouts consist of Granny Smith apples, crushed pepper, balsamic glaze, almonds, goat cheese, and golden raisins. Y'all, I crave those.
And that all sounds good. That all sounded great.
So good.
Man.
So for my dinner, this is what I had. You're going to pop that picture back up. Charles Harris stuffed chicken, chorizo, Oaxaca, and local green stuffed airline chicken, herb and cheese potato cake, tomato sofrito, shishito peppers, cilantro vinaigrette. Y'all,
that is like
just
all on
so good.
Oh, that is on all. That is I don't even know what to say. That just sounds all good. I am curious. Local greens though, local to Lubbock or
local to Lubbock. We have a lot of microgreen growers. So they grow microgreens.
That's kind of cool.
All local. Yes, they're so good. Like, have you ever had like alfalfa sprouts?
I love alfalfa sprouts. I love them.
Okay, so they have microgreens like at our local farmers market. Oh my gosh, they're so delicious.
This sounds good. Look at all this stuff. This is all like that fresh. This is like one of those farm to table dishes.
That's exactly. So the chef was a farm to table. He had a farm to table. A food truck. He had gourmet tacos. Oh my! I'm like salivating right now. I had to.
I know. I hadn't really eaten tonight, Sandy. And so I'm like, I got some chorizo in the fridge. I can make something, but it won't be like this. But I can make something.
No, gosh. Anyway, if y'all want to go, and invite me, I will always go back and try something new on the menu. Last time I had their salmon, and the salmon, because so good. The salmon was delicious, and we did have the alfalfa sprouts. Eric had the filet last time. He had a pork chop. Let me tell you something. Eric does not like pork chops, okay? The pork chop was amazing. I had just had a little bit of it, and it was so good. Oh, look at Anita. She said, pero no invitaste. Hey, girl, listen, I was barely invited. I think Eric was kind of like nervous, thinking I'm going to lose the job for him. I'm like,
Did you tell him? Were you like, are you a true crime junkie? Is that what you told him?
Oh, of course. You know I did.
Yeah, you did.
we did talk true crime specifically. We talked the Chris Watts case.
Oh,
one of the guys that was there was like, well, that was really dark. And I'm like, was it though? Was it really dark? Anyway, we had a great dinner. I think that Eric gets to keep his job.
And all because of you.
Yeah, because of little old me that he was scared to take.
Good Lord, I am trying to.
Because he happened to mention it. He's like, "Hey, my boss is in town." I'm like, "Ooh."
Where does his boss usually go?
Should we invite him to dinner? His boss is in Houston. He's based out of Houston.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So they're always in meetings together. They are basically on the phone all the time.
Where in the world?
Do what?
I am looking for somewhere.
Funny thing, now that you say that, the chef's name is Antonio Pina.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, no, never mind. I almost thought it was my cousin. I was like, no, wait. Wrong last name.
So Antonio Pina, he had the Farm to Fork truck local. I don't know if you locals remember it, but he would sit over there on 82nd and Slide. I mean, I was the food truck groupie over there. I'm so sad that he shut it down, but this place is amazing.
Oh, he did?
I'm not even kidding. He shut his food truck down, kind of did another venture, and then now he's doing this, I think.
Bless you.
So
I am not ignoring you. I'm looking for a food item that you have. When you showed me to show that picture, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to show you one of the most amazing dishes I've ever had that's not quite similar, but it'll make sense in a little bit. So
okay. So anyway,
and Sandy, you didn't even know that I had named the show Restaurants until like 5 minutes ago or something, right? Less than 10 minutes ago.
What do you mean you named it Restaurant? I'm just not seeing it. Restaurant Talk with.
So never mind. Seconds ago.
Now seeing that. No, I was like, what are you talking about? Restaurants? No, I didn't even pay attention.
So that's so funny that you just see. This is how much we kind of connect so much, is because like I don't even have to tell her, and she's like, I got the message right. I understood the assignment.
I'm right here. So while you're pulling that up, we had Evie Mays today at lunch, and Evie Mays is the local, been in the Texas Monthly for the top barbecue joint. And I actually had barbecue yesterday, but I went into Evie Mays today because they have chili, a Frito pie, I'm sorry, yeah. And so, that was delicious. And then I had cheesecake, because everything at Evie Mays is gluten-free except for their sandwich bread that they have out. And it's so good. Yeah.
Have you seen that bread that you make with chicken? Oh, what is it? I think, ground chicken. They make a bread with ground chicken and eggs. It looks gross, but after they cook it, it's like, the guy was like, this is a gluten-free bread.
Oh,
I thought of you. I need to send it to you. I'll find it and send it to you.
CPJ says you went in for the free beer. Girl, I get drunk off of their desserts, because it's few and far between that you can actually find something gluten-free around this here town. But it is a bonus to have a free beer.
Here we go.
What were you going to say?
How I can tell you're still a little bit, not 100% under the weather, but I know you got sick.
Yeah, so kind of last week I just started, and so we ended up coming down with the flu, and so yeah, that Friday, Thursday was bad. Friday was even worse. Like we couldn't. It was both Eric and I that came down with it. Thankfully, Cade has been lucky, and he's not gotten sick. I just really thought it was inevitable. I thought he was going to get something, but he's done good. He hasn't gotten sick or anything.
See, that's how Dr. Pineapples is. She likes to hang out with folks when she gets sick, because it's like a free pass to hang out with the family and stuff. And then I'm like, no, go back, go, get away, stay away from us because you're not trying to get the rest of us sick, please. And she's like, but I want, like, get out of here. Jeez.
But I just love y'all more.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh.
And so Evie Mae's also is going to have their gluten-free catfish. I think they started it last Friday. So, they only do it during Lent.
And okay.
It's gluten-free. You can't get gluten-free catfish anywhere in town unless you make it. And ain't nobody got time for that. But anyway, so you have to get to Evie Mae's like pretty early. Like I'm thinking like catfish, we got to be there at the latest 11:30.
So for lunch.
Yes.
Do they open for dinner?
Nope. They only these guys are open at 11 to sell out their actual Evie Mae's place. They opened up a place in at the United, which I don't feel is as good, and I've also not been there, so I have no basis of comparison. Why I even said that? That's just my personal feeling. It has nothing is not based on anything other than how I feel about it. But so they're open. That store is open longer. But
okay, so this is the best picture I can find.
Legit. Okay, I'm
going to share it.
It was similar to what I had today.
So I think this might be it. I'm not 100% sure, and you'll understand why I'm not 100% when you see it. So at this local cafe in town, that's super good.
That's a beautiful presentation.
It really is. It really is. So they have.
But is that egg a powder egg or a regular egg?
So they actually have options for you. So you can do egg whites and just regular eggs, cage-free eggs, and all that stuff. So it's definitely an upper tier place you go to, but they do try to make it affordable for everyone, and I think they do a pretty good job. But they have a skillet there. Do you know what a skillet is? I don't know if that's a regional thing or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, what you're eating out of, it's a little skillet.
Yeah, so they put all your proteins and vegetables and everything else into this thing, and you eat out of the skillet, right? It's not hot; it's just more presentation. Which is weird because they put it on top of a plate, right? Whatever. Anyway, this bad boy. The two main things that I always notice about it when I eat it is the chorizo is so good on there. It is like out of this world good, right? And then they combine. Man, my mouth is watering so bad.
I know it's so hard not to
Sandy, but then it just keeps going. And then they put goat cheese on here, right? And then there's a lot of stuff that you're mentioning. So there's some greens on here, there's some peppers in here, tomatoes, all that stuff, and it's all stuff that I love. And I'm always like, yes. And then I normally do not get skillets just because I'm a traditional pancakes, eggs, hash browns guy or whatever, right? But when I go to this place, I'm always like, give me the skillet and then some blueberry muffins or French toast on the side, whatever, because this thing is out of this world good. There's just something about mixing up new flavors, right? Like when you have not just your store-bought chorizo, but like the chorizo that's made from the local guy or whatever, which is what these guys do. And then that goat cheese, it's a goat cheese that you don't find in your normal food places. And just the cleanliness of all the greens that they put in there and stuff. It's just like, it's all popping, right? It's all just, man, my mouth is.
That's how this place is. Yeah. So CPJ says, speaking of amazing food, guess who's making the 50-yard line blueberry muffins right now? Do you know how much I miss those, CPJ?
I know.
And the little cheese ones next to it. Oh my gosh.
I was never a fan of the cheese ones.
When you just got done eating and you're still thinking about food. Those are fatty 2x4 problems. I love food so much.
I'm right there with you. And today is the day to talk about that. We can talk about all things restaurants today because that's kind of the idea I had before talking to y'all. And so I was like, oh yeah, we'll just do that. So, but what else happened, Sandy? We've got your scroll going on. So on the bottom of the screen
today, I'm trying to think.
Maybe not just today, but last week. And so you kind of talked about it, but to allude it, you were going to go live on Thursday, right?
Yes, I had a great show planned on Thursday, but we were just so dang miserable. And anyway, then like I said, Friday there was nothing. We're not doing anything. We are basically The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, bled into the weekend, didn't accomplish anything. But I'm excited because Saturday we're actually our church is putting up they're going to have an author there. She is a Rwandan genocide survivor and also wrote a book. Yes, she's written several books, so she's going to speak at our church, and I'm so looking forward to that.
That sounds exciting, to be honest with you.
Yes, she wrote a book that I just picked up, and the book is actually The Boy Who Met Jesus.
Okay.
And he is also a genocide survivor, maybe not a survivor, but anyway, family was pagan, came from a pagan background, had no study whatsoever, but he met Jesus. And there was like 4 visionaries at that time, during that time, that tried to warn the citizens that were like, they're like, hey, if we don't change our ways, something bad's going to happen. And that's when the genocide happened. They obviously didn't change their ways, but the boy spoke to Jesus. And so she retells his story. Hey, say it ain't so. It's Chon. He's back. Oh, Chon, I forgot to call you. Listen, it's been a crazy
I'm
day.
not sure if that is him yet or not yet, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
I talked to him earlier, and I told him to make sure. I told him to change his name and to change his picture because I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay.
So let's segue into that real quick, just to make sure everyone knows. So, because Sandy, myself, and a few of you were all hit
CPJ
yesterday or the day before with some strange messages. It is. Well, if you weren't, wouldn't you say that too?
Right. So it was kind of crazy. I was sitting here minding my own business. Actually, my sister-in-law, I was talking to my sister. I can't remember. Anyway, Kate had a band stuff yesterday, and then I hightailed it on over to my nephew's basketball game. And then I remembered, I'm like, oh my gosh, her uncle passed. I don't think they're going to play basketball. Anyway, so I think they were trying to, yes, Chon, use your famous tagline. That's funny. Chon, what do you always tell us?
Yeah.
There's one thing that you haven't done, and then if you do that, then we know that it's you.
Yes,
anyway,
I agree with you.
I got a message from Chon, and it was like, hey, can I borrow some money? And I'm like, actually, I'm kind of strapped because I just let someone, I just donated some money for something. I can't do 150, but I can do 50. Will that be okay? And the response was like, yeah, that's fine. And I'm like, okay, Cash App or Venmo. And I just kind of ignored a lot of my red flags. I was kind of, I guess I just let my guard down because I'm like, oh, it's Chon, no big deal. But anyway, nobody hit me up because I'm never letting anybody borrow money because it wasn't Chon. Chon had been hacked. And so that account reached out to me after the fact, like a day later, and was trying to get me to send me a link because supposedly he'd gotten a new phone and was trying to access. He's like, hey, my new phone isn't working. I'm going to send you my Facebook link and click on it and give me the code. So I feel like that's what happened to Chon, and that's what happened to whoever hacked another person. Anyway, it was crazy.
So I had Sandy and I, it was very near together as far as timeline goes, because I got a message from John too, and it was the exact same scenario. He was asking for $200, and I was in the same boat. I was a little cautious actually, so I was like, I can't do 200. I'm not going to do 200. I can do 50. But is everything okay? Because on the, I've known John for a very long time. Before I got married, I've known John since then. And so this was so out of character for him. And I was like, is everything okay? Just tell me, and he wasn't answering. Then he was going back and forth. And he was like, then he started sending me Venmo requests, and he was like, are you going to do it or not? And I was like, John, I can do it, but tell me what's going on right now with you, because this is not like you. So I sent this message, and I said, anyone who asks for money out of the blue should always be met with a little hesitance. That's how people get swindled out of money all the time. Sorry, Sandy. I trust but verify. I trust but verify things. I want to make sure this is really you. You've never asked for money in all the years we've known each other. So I'm concerned for my friend, and I have seen enough friends get their Facebook hacked. And you remember, this is like a playbook, right? This is Anyway.
I mean, honestly.
And you remember Sandy saying she was hacked recently on the show, right? So that was my trap, Sandy, because you didn't get hacked, right? So that's what I was trying to try and see, right? So he says, no problem. And then I said, what does that mean, John? He says, after that yourself, you know that already. If you're asking me beep because I asked for help, then you can beep on. John would never talk like that to me, ever. I don't think he even would talk like that normal, like, you know, I don't know, but he would never talk to me that way. So then he says, do not write me a message anymore. And then I was like, you're sick. You're not John. He says, idiot. And then I get blocked. And so I was like, ooh, I was mad at that point. And that's when I took that screenshot, sent it to Sandy and Joe. And that's when the conversation between Sandy and I started. She was all like, what? Or, you know, she was like, that happened to me. That was, oh my gosh. And then we were putting pieces together. We're just like,
and then shortly after, CPJ got the message. Anita, we were just recapping Chon's horrible evening. Oh, I guess he's telling you that that it's not, that he didn't send any of that. And then CPJ says, well, I was told my great grandfather's an idiot. And then she got blocked.
Oh my gosh. So hold on, let me write this tag real quick.
Trying to do like damage control and trying to reach out to people and say, hey, anybody that was a mutual, especially friend of the shows, I was like, okay, we've got to let everybody know.
Mm-hmm. And so then we, you know, collectively, the three of us were talking, and Sandy had put up a post on Facebook so that we could let whoever knew. And then I put up on my page too. And then I put up a video on Facebook, very short video, maybe in the comments, actually, that's what it was. Right. And so anyone, for those of you watching right now, if you could do this too, if John is in your friend list, there is a,
and I just realized I muted the conversation, and I don't know if he's reached out to me again, now that I think of that.
Oh, okay. So this video, you can look through it and it'll actually show you what you can do. But basically, if you had a conversation with John in Facebook Messenger, you can click on the communication with him. You can click on the dots in the top right-hand corner. There's a space for you to put, well, geez, what does it say exactly? Report. So you hit report, and then you click on other, and then you go down to hacked, and then you can just submit that report. So you don't even have to type anything in. You just put that there, send it through. If enough of us do that, I hope it'll help John so he can get his Facebook back. But I did tell him, I was like, there's a big chance that you're not going to get that back because there's not a lot of luck when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I did tell him, I was like, change your photo. Don't use the same photo and change your name because everyone's going to think it's the same old one. Now, and this happened because so talking with him, because I called him up when this was all going down to just check on him. And he thought it was someone else. Now, I can understand why he would think that. Being in the IT world and specifically been working on some cybersecurity stuff recently, I can tell you that the way he described it, it sounds like it wasn't the person who hacked him. Even I'm not 100% sure on that, but there was a link that was sent to John in Facebook Messenger from this other person. He clicked on that link thinking it was like a game link, you know, a Facebook game. When he clicked on that link, that's when he said things started acting weird. And he wasn't sure. So I think there was something he said, like he logged out, maybe logged back in. At that point, that's when they grabbed his password. And when they can see your friends list and then start, like with Sandy and I.
But the crazy part is they went so far as to even create a Venmo with his name on it. The Venmo said like Chon 1975, which like I didn't question it. Like I questioned it because like I didn't realize that Chon had a Venmo.
Is 1975 your birthday year too, John? That's kind of weird, but
yeah,
you don't have to answer that, John. Actually, never mind. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Okay.
Right.
So sorry. Don't answer that. Yeah. Do not click on anything to answer that. Okay. Yeah. So and when you showed me the Venmo email address or the tag, username, whatever it was, I was like, that's not him too. I knew when I saw that too, because I was like, I know John, he's never spelled his name like that.
Because I just always thought you misspelled it.
No. That's how he's done it.
That's why I've always spelled it CHON.
And it makes sense. It's phonetically, it sounds like that, but only because of knowing Sean for so long that when I don't even remember how we got introduced and all that jazz, but it's always been CON, John, short for Encarnacion. So.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this. Sean, can you answer this? What is the guy who hacked you? Hia. I mean, like, I want to answer so bad, but I don't. I want him to answer. Like I think Sean is so worried about it. You know, I think at one point this morning he thought that I'd blocked him.
Yeah, he did say that. He did tell me that.
Totally not blocked you. We're not mad at you. I mean,
no.
This shit happens to everybody.
Yeah, he was talking to me last night. He's like, he goes, Jaime, you know, he was like, I'm not going to get it right, but it was something like, you know, I'm just joking when I put the angry faces up on y'all, right? Like, I don't really mean that. I'm just messing with y'all. And I was like, John, I was like, dude,
like, we know,
we get it. We're just razzing. You're razzing us, and we're razzing you right back. So,
yeah,
you know, nothing. But
here's a warning from Anita. If you ever get a message like that from me on Facebook, please know it's not me asking for any amount of money. I would never do that.
Right. Same here.
Like, I ask you for a Chilton or vodka, but I would not ask you for money.
I'll ask you for like a chocolate chip cookie or a cinnamon roll.
Right.
That sounds more like my style.
Yeah.
Or pictures of the food that you made, you know, or if you're CPJ, pictures of the last gala that you had.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, it's so crazy. But I mean, there's like so many scams. So I was speaking of scams, I was watching a TikTok, and the girl that was talking, she said, let me tell you what happened. I received a phone call from my sister. Like, when the call came in, it was her sister's picture and it was her sister's phone number. I don't know if how the Android users come across, but like when, say, for example, CPJ calls me, whatever picture CPJ has is on her phone, and it'll pop that up. And so then, I know that it's CPJ. So anyway, she said her sister called her, and this guy was like, hey, don't call anybody. Don't call the police. Don't call. I'm telling you right now, I have your sister. And listen to me. All I want you to, and then she could hear in the background like somebody that was like whimpering, like with a muffle. So she is freaking out. And he's like, look, I don't want to hurt your sister. I'll just send me this money and I'll let her go. She said he didn't ask for like gift cards or anything. You know how like some scams are. And so anyway, she ran upstairs because her mom happened to be in town visiting, mutes it, and she tells him, Mom, call the police and call the sister because I think she's been kidnapped. So then mom gets hysterical. She runs out of the house so that she can go on the porch. That way she can't hear anything. The caller can't hear anything in the background. Mom gets a hold of the sister. But by then, I mean, this has moved so fast that the girl has already sent money, and then mom gets a hold of the sister. Sister's like, hey, I'm at home. I am totally fine. Like, nothing's happening.
Wow.
But it's so crazy.
It's so sweet and horrible at the same time, right? Like, to know that your sister, your loved one was, you know, was your day one. They were your partner, and you didn't even know all that. And then on the other hand, though, you know, like I said, like, and stuff like that, you know, I've talked about in the past where it's like that's a paradigm shift, man. When you've had some sort of when your security has been rocked in a way, it really shifts your world. And it's not something that you can easily recover from. It takes a bit. Like,
I mean, they call you, imagine that they kidnapped your sister. I would panic and then realize, oh my God, I don't even have a sister. I would freak out and probably send money and then be like, I don't even have a sister. That's silly me. But can you imagine?
I can. Now that you've mentioned it, I can't imagine you. Okay. Yeah.
But, so, and then if they say my brothers, I'm like, well, which one? You know,
you're like, because I'll pay for one of them or two of them, but not all of them.
Right, so. Right. But and that whole rabbit hole leads me to tell you this. Please go to Netflix and watch. Do not pick up the phone. Because now I'm second guessing myself. Hold on.
Okay.
I want to get you the correct name. Because when we say scams and how unbelievable things are, this show was a true story. And let me tell you that it was the most unbelievable. You know what it was? It was up there with Abducted in Plain Sight. Did you watch that one?
Give me a second. Was that the one where he told the little girl the aliens and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah. That was
yes.
That's probably one of the only ones I've ever Anyway, that's one of the few that I've ever watched that you've recommended, and I was just like,
okay,
oh, that's one where he
don't pick up the phone.
Don't pick up the phone.
It's called Don't Pick Up the Phone, and it's on Netflix. I promise you, you guys are gonna be like, WTF?
I might watch it because I need
something.
Even
happen? You need to watch it. I promise you, it'll be good. Let me catch up on these comments real quick. CPJ says, Sandy, I will not ask you for money, but I will ask you to take me to fancy double cheeseburgers. Hey, game on. You know I love to eat. Anita said, I'll answer. He asked. Sylvia, hey, we're just here for the comedy, Sylvia. Thanks for hopping in here. And in case you missed a happy International Women's Day.
Yes.
But anyway, y'all, okay, watch it and then report back to me because I want to hear y'all's take on this. But it is up there with Abducted in Plain Sight. And if you haven't watched Abducted in Plain Sight, you need to watch that too. It's insane. It's insane.
Okay. I don't mind the insane ones, right? Because it's kind of one of those like I don't know if you've ever heard of Freakonomics, Sandy. You ever heard of that?
I heard about it. Like, is that on Ferris Bueller? I swear they say
no. So it was a book that was written maybe a decade and a half ago. And the idea is like when in economics, there's two unrelated things that happen to impact one of them. And so it like, I don't remember all of them, but there's quite a few and they continue on. There's a podcast, there, it's a whole thing. There's unrelated things. So, but for example, they were like, I don't remember if this is the right one, but they were like, did anyone realize that there was an increase in sales of pantyhose? And they're like, why is that important? It's like, it's not that it's important, but did you just notice that the market for pantyhose has increased significantly and crazy? And they're like, okay,
I mean, so if you said that now, that would be a phenomenon because nobody wears pantyhose, but go ahead.
Maybe so, right? But back then the idea was like, okay, so but what's the connection? Why is that a thing? And they're like, well, because it actually has to do with prostitutes. And they're like, what? Oh. And so Freakonomics is where it's these two unrelated, like it seems two unrelated out of the world things that connect though. And so, but it's all economics based. Anyway, I forgot why I brought that up, but I think that's what I was thinking. Oh, that's the stuff that I like learning about that kind of stuff. Like I like that. And when you mention some of those shows like that, I feel like that's a little bit like what it's like. It's like these unbelievable, like you wouldn't think people would do this kind of stuff, right? Like I think there's only 2 or 3 that you've told me to watch, right? So you told me to watch that one, I think you said Abducted in Plain Sight, and it was just out of this world too, right? That one was...
It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. You told me about the, what was the guy? No, not the guy. Yeah, the guy who basically catfished a bunch of women out of their money, remember? And he's still free. Yes, that one. Yeah. And then there's one more I can't recall. So
Inventing Anna.
Which one was that one about? Give me a quick.
She was basically like a female Tinder swindler. She was like trying to scam the New York elite out of money to open up. And she like went on lavish trips and friends. And
you know what?
She was a German heiress.
There's an episode of Law and Order on her. I just saw it recently.
Ripped from the headlines. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is crazy. It's so funny because when they were talking about it, I was like, I was like, did I see this already? I was like, no, I didn't. But
did I dream this plot?
I was thinking to myself, I was like, this is something like Sandy would watch, but I feel like I watched it. I was like, are we sharing memories? I was like, weird.
No.
But now that it's funny because now that you're saying it, now I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. So anyhow.
So now add this to your collection.
I might end up watching it tonight. I'll probably watch it tonight. So
I can't wait to hear what you think.
I might. So because I need something to watch because I'm working on some projects right now, and so I just need something. Anyhow, so I wanted to chat a little bit about. Wait, let me make sure there was nothing else I wanted to say real quick.
I'm trying to think.
Okay. Let me harp on this for a minute because it's significant, and I'm just going to go back to what John was talking about, right? Which I totally erased.
Which I think he's come out of left our comments. Actually, I'm kind of worried.
Well, we can tag him on the side if we can.
But I mean, I've never gotten a friend request. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he sent a friend request and we didn't. If anyone ever sends me a friend request and I don't answer you the day of, I know it may look like I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm not. I may post a bunch of stuff at one time, but then I'll be gone for like 2 or 3 days. So if I don't, because I've had someone else who messaged me and they're like, well, I guess you didn't want to be my friend. I'm back on Facebook. Bye. And I was like, I'm not.
That scammer did the same thing to CPJ's, like, oh, you're not going to answer? And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry that I'm not fast enough for you.
Freaking jerky, man. You know that I'm so burned by that, man. It really irritates me. And because it was John, it makes me angry more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, man, you messing with my friends. Like, geez. But
and you said he had reached out to like his sister, like, I guess they messaged his sisters and his brothers too.
Yeah. Yep. And so he was getting messages and phone calls. It is. So, you know what I mean? Like that man, he doesn't care about too many people's business. You know what I mean? He has his simple. He loves his Cowboys. He loves hanging out on the show and watching us and stuff like that. And he loves.
I know.
He loves eating,
I feel like we right up there. He said, "Me, Jamie, on Facebook."
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just saying it makes me mad. But look. You remember we were talking a while back. We said it's 2023. Can we stop with the password 123? Remember like that? And so I'm just like, I think I'm ready to kind of, and I've kind of hinted it before, but I'm planning on making a career change this year. I'm planning to swap over and get into cybersecurity. And so I picked up a training course, and this is all thanks to Dr. Pineapples. Dr. Pineapple said, look, you need to make some more money because
you bought too many damn comic books. I'm just going to tell you right now.
That's exactly.
Oh, really? Oh, my God. That's funny.
She said, I need you to be able, if you're going to buy your comic books, where it doesn't impact the family. So I found this cybersecurity program for you, and you're going to take it. And I was like, I don't want to take it. And I was like, I do want more comics, though. So I was like, well, whatever. And I'll tell you what, guys, I do enjoy like the learning environment. I do excel when it comes to like scholastic type scenarios. So it wasn't about the time committing to this or whatever, which was significant, has been significant. It was just kind of like, okay. So then I was like, what are we doing? So she told me the field or the niche field that it was in. And I was like, oh my gosh, you serious? You picked the one field that I absolutely abhor when it comes to cybersecurity. It's the one that you couldn't pick any of the other ones. You had to pick this one, and it's called PCI DSS, okay? And it stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards. And this is basically what manages any company that give me a second. Any company that touches, stores, or transmit credit card data of any kind has to be PCI DSS compliant, okay? I was there when Visa and MasterCard sat on their butt. I was a little kid when they sat on their butt for 30 years doing nothing in the industry. And then when I started at Trinity, they were just pulling out all the stops and saying, here's your card. You know, we're shutting down mom and pop places. You're getting data breaches and it's going to cost you significant fines. Not saying they shouldn't do all that. Go ahead.
When you say they spent 20, 30 years doing nothing, what do you mean by that? Like doing
nothing? So Visa and MasterCard, think of the inception of the credit card, okay? Comes out, they get these credit cards out there in people's hands to buy, to use money they don't have so they can make money on those payments in the form of interest, right? Free money, basically, for everyone in a way. So they did that, and then for 30 years, they didn't create or enact any policies for securing that data. And so there was a
because you didn't have to.
Because no one thought about it. It wasn't that you didn't have to. No one thought about it. So then you fast forward 30 years, and there's this giant data breach with one of the world's largest companies. and a whole bunch of credit card data was stolen. And that meant your information, your name, your credit card number, and all the stuff that's on your credit card, that was stolen. And someone has that information and now could use that to put it on a new credit card and use your stuff whenever they wanted to. Or could, back then it was phone calls, right? We didn't do internet stuff at that time. So people could do the whole, I'll make a phone call to the QVC, or, I'm going to buy a bunch of
commercial shit.
Yes. I'm going to get my 8 DVD or CDs and for a penny and all that stuff. And all that. So that's what I mean when they sat and did nothing on those times. So then only because of this data breach happened, then Visa and MasterCard are pressured to do something. So they enact this thing called PCI DSS, which is what businesses or organizations, not businesses, organizations have to adhere to these practices in order to be compliant so that they don't get charged this annual fee from all the credit card companies. Okay. And so I was working within the restaurant business at the time when this started hitting heavy, and a lot of mom and pop places were getting shut down. My criticism of it, my criticism of it is, I don't mind if there's a regulating organization to help businesses or organizations function, if it protects the consumer. I don't mind that at all. What I do mind is if that regulating organization comes out and says, look, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do exactly. I'm going to give you these guidelines that say what you need to do. So long as you meet those guidelines, you're going to be okay. But if you meet those guidelines, it's not a guarantee that you still won't have a data breach happen. So then it's like, wait a minute.
Ask Ashley Madison.
So, so then it's like, wait a minute. So we can do all these things. We still might get penalized, or not penalized. We'll still could get breached. But even if we get breached, then we still get penalized. So they keep stacking the chips. And for an organization that's large and in charge, they can get insurance on this kind of thing now. But for your mom and pop places, you know what I mean? Like the little restaurants down the street, the little amigos or whatever, it's not as easy for them. And so one simple data breach could shut down a mom and father's, whatever you want to call it, their livelihood, everything. And so I find that to be unfair for them for that. Having said that, I'm in the field now. I'm learning how to validate that information for organizations and say, yes, you're compliant, or no, you're not compliant.
Oh, Lord, you're going to be a compliance officer?
I am going to be someone who tells people you pass or fail, basically. That part is kind of
IRS. You owe us money.
But yes, hopefully it'll make me... Go ahead.
You said mom and pop places, and it reminded me of a restaurant, because we're supposed to be talking about restaurants.
Sure.
Brian's Steakhouse, they caught fire the other day.
Shut up.
Yes. And then, so like the news was like, it was a small little fire. And then I saw a picture, and I'm like, this is not a small little fire. Anyway, they were like, it didn't get into the bones, into the structure, so we consider this a small fire. And I'm like, shit looks devastating to me.
Really? So I remember they used to have a second location, right? Way out, like on 198th and Slide. This was years ago when I was living there.
Oh, I was going to say I've only known one.
And they were our client at the time. But I know the original Brian Steakhouse you're talking about. I remember that. The big cow in front, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're like, that was my first job, girl.
No way.
Yeah.
And so and then it goes back, and then it ties into, forever they were just cash or check. And I think they finally now got credit card. Anyway, I'm going to catch up on these comments real quick.
Go for it.
You're a comaholic. Time for an intervention.
Hold on real quick. Let's say it right there. So Joanne and John both call me, say I need they use the same terminology. John always says you need to go to Comics Anonymous.
Comaholics Anonymous.
Yeah. And so it's funny because I have a what do you call it? A business entity that I've put up here in Illinois called Comics Anonymous, because I plan to sell comics through that thing down the road. So anyway,
you're
it's just funny.
welcome, because I dubbed you that, so now you're welcome.
So thank you.
CPJ says, we need to talk about what you could be doing and building for boutiques like me. Huge gap needing to be filled. Oh, tell us more, CPJ, like what gaps need to be filled there. And C's Nettle, Pineapple is going to help all the mom and pop stores. Hi, C's Nettle, welcome.
So actually, it's funny. C's Nettles is one of the other fellows in the program. So he is learning to become a cybersecurity expert in the PCI DSS field as well. Yeah, see there.
There you go, Mr. ACC. It is Sean. Welcome back.
Yeah,
Sean.
it is.
Anita says, I saw a podcast with John McAfee. He said there's no longer any kind of protection for your computer hacking. And John McAfee yet still thinks that we need to have McAfee software so it'll prevent anything. Let me just tell you, don't be clicking on no phishing emails. Like if you get an invoice from Geek Squad and you know that you don't have any business with Geek Squad, you have no business clicking on that link. Oh my God. Y'all stress me out. And then y'all get an email and then you're like, oh, maybe I won something from Walmart. Walmart is not giving anything away. Medea, what's that?
Amazon isn't.
Amazon's not giving anything away.
What else? Home Depot.
No one is giving shit away.
No,
quit sharing it, quit clicking on it. And if you can't listen, just get off the internet.
Really, you should. So I made this post up this week. So now because of this program, I'm becoming more cybersecure aware of things and trying to spill my knowledge out in places and whatnot. In CPJ, I'm interested too in what you meant on your boutique. So I hope you're kind of right now to follow up comments so we can read you in a minute.
She's actually worried about her blueberry muffins. She's busy right now. 10 minutes in the first batch of 50-yard line. Where'd you get the recipe?
Send us a picture because I want to see them. CPJ, okay, please. Where was I going? So much cybersecurity information out there. So many things. We've talked about it. And I've been harping on this. When this happened to John, it was it's been a frustrating thing. You know what I mean? And I get it. A lot of people don't understand or really feel the need for some of the stuff to do. Like, and Joe was kind of a good example last month, but I was talking about multi-factor authentication recently on LinkedIn. So now my LinkedIn pages are talking more heavily about cybersecurity and how to protect yourself and what to do from a business, an organization standpoint, and from personal standpoints too. And so it's just like, I'm appreciating it. I'm in the program. Hopefully we'll be exiting it soon, about another 3 or 4 months. But ready to get a new job, start a new career in that field and helping people out. So I would really like to help them.
Okay, so are you going to work for a company, open your own company? What exactly are your goals?
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that because here's what I would ultimately love to do, Sandy. I would like to get a very high paying job after I'm done, very high paying so my family can start benefiting pretty quickly, right? And then after that, not even after that, right? I'm starting the stuff now. I would like to create my own company that basically would hire people like me coming out of programs and then offering that service to the big organizations. I've told you I live up here where there's a lot of headquarters, right? I've got Bridgestone, Firestone, State Farm, Country Financial, Ferrero Rocher, and like Caterpillar and a couple other ones I can't think of off the top of my head. But like I would like to be able to say, hey, I have these. So we're called assessors, right? I have these assessors. I would, if you have the work for us, I will take some contracts. I'll hire some of these guys out and they'll do the work for you. So that would be my ultimate dream and goal with this. And so I would do this just to get the benefit.
Oh, wait. I think we lost them. Okay. Let me catch up on some of these comments while we try to get them back. CBJ says, let me tell you, thank you to y'all for talking about and making sure our socials are secure. I went in, changed all my password and 2 factors on all. So crazy that you mentioned this. A business that both CPJ and I ordered things from, she got hacked, lost all of her social media, lost her, what am I trying to say? She lost every single thing. And so she had to start over from scratch with all of her pictures. And then I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were back. So So Jamie, CPJ said, let me tell you, thank you to y'all for talking about and making sure our socials are secure. I went in and changed all my passwords and 2 factors on all.
CPJ, so you are you're the poster child, okay?
Right? There was a boutique. No, it was like a little business site that both CPJ and I both purchased things from her. And then all of a sudden we like didn't get any more communication, and her name had changed, and it was almost like in Chinese or Japanese, like her name all of a sudden. And so anyway, we reached out to her, or she finally reached out to us and was like, hey, I got hacked on everything. I'm trying to send emails out to people. Like she basically had to start her business from scratch. Last week, 2 weeks ago, when did that photo shoot for Joe, I purchased a bandana from a local online social media presence. I think it's called like Bougie Bandanas. Anyway, something happened to our order. Anyway, she had gotten hacked. They had taken like $1,800 out of her account. I mean, all of her social media was taken from her. So yes, it is absolutely also very important to have the multi-factor authentication. I know it's a pain in the ass. Trust me, I get sick of it at work. It's
yes.
a pain.
And so I just put up a post on LinkedIn this week. So I'm trying to be, like I was saying, be more cybersecurity conscientious on my LinkedIn specifically, right? And so I'll be posting nothing but that type of stuff there. I put up this week about multi-factor authentication, and I was telling people, I was like, everything you said, in addition to, I'm like, look, I get it's a pain, it sucks and all that stuff. And I agree with you. And it's legit. I get that, right? And I was like, but let's paint a picture here. And it was just exactly like what CPJ was saying, what you were saying, and what happened to Joe. And I was like, painted that picture out there. And I was like, now you log into your account and realize you've got zero cash, your passwords maybe don't work, you've lost your credit cards and everything else. Is multi-factor authentication better than not having your money? And I hope the answer would be yes. Because
right. Do you want to log in twice to the same account, or do you want to log in once and then have to realize that you don't have any more money for your businest?
Yeah. And your home. Or your home.
Jamie, hire me. I can be the assistant to the assistant to the assistant.
I remember that, Anita. I remember you for that, right? Because once I get this going, I'm going to be looking for the people who I want to help me out. So but go ahead.
CPJ has a pretty good comment. Jamie, we have things like Shopify in my world, but the drop on product is so fast and furious, it makes it very difficult to build websites and keep them relevant. We need landing pages that are pro-fresh, that do all the reports, etc., like Shopify, but on a much smaller scale, not financially smaller for creatives to allow for security and all the things. We can talk, don't want to ramble, but there's a big need for small business boutiques, but that have a high end.
So the good thing about that, and I appreciate you mentioning that, CPJ, because I think there's some significance to what you're saying, obviously, and you're the expert in it. From a cybersecurity standpoint, at least for the PCI piece of it, the benefit for you is that if you're a part of that group, like let's say Shopify, Etsy, Mercari, whatever else I can't think of right now, but they fall into that kind of that type of environment, the onus is not 100% on you, because again, for in the PCI DSS only specific, right? It only matters if you're an organization that is taking, storing, transmitting credit card data. Since your shop is virtual and it's on a platform, the platform assumes responsibility for that, because you never have to deal with the credit card data yourself. And even when people purchase on there, you never have to worry about you personally storing that information. So all the responsibility, all the burden goes onto Shopify and everyone else behind there. So from that perspective alone, it's a benefit to you. But there are other perspectives, everything that you mentioned, for example, that does relate to you, because the protection, like what Sandy was just saying a second ago about people who've lost their online boutiques and all that kind of stuff. Like all that stuff is still relevant to you, right? It amazes me in 2023. Here we go. It's 2023. Can we stop with actually losing our social media accounts? Like that needs to, and I don't mean that like on you. Like there is a layer that belongs us as users. There's another layer where it's like, come on, Facebook. You you should know that I got hacked. If you're getting reports from people telling you I got hacked, which I get it, maybe those could be falsified too, but there should be a process where I should be able to get my stuff back. It should not be, not anymore, not in 2023. 2013, I completely understand that. 2023, I don't understand it anymore. Real quick, I do want to show these pictures. Well, actually, I want to wait till are they done? CPJ, send me the pictures when they're
done yet. She just
okay. I'm not going to share these yet. Then
breaking news: our Texas Tech Mark Adams is out. He just resigned today. Mark Adams steps down from head coach.
Why? They lost what today. Happened?
I heard it was pretty bad. So I think he's had a lot of problems, but it came down to, I think
it's because he didn't pronounce the L.
It was probably didn't. It was a racially insensitive Bible verse that he chose to use. He basically he was trying to get his kids to be coachable and used and don't quote me because I'm not 100% on this one, but it was like servants obey your masters type thing. And you know that our basketball team is predominantly Black, and so it's kind of one of those things you have to know your audience and that type deal. So
it's unfortunate. That's why Dr. Pineapples works at a university in with a program that helps the staff, and this would be coaches, the teachers, even the kitchen folks, and anyone in between. She is their EDI agent, right? She's their equity, diversity, and inclusion agent for the School of Business. But that's why these schools need this type of stuff, because they give you the training to help you see that extra lens. It's not politically whatever. It is all just about taking this extra layer of understanding so that when you say something like that, you're not being stupid. I call it a stupid remark. And that was dumb.
And the thing about it is like this, everybody's like, he's not a racist.
Right.
They're not calling him racist. He's just racially insensitive. And everybody's like, well, it's because he's quoting the Bible. Not quoting the Bible. He shouldn't have been quoting the Bible. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. He shouldn't have been quoting it. I feel like you've already lost your team if you're having to grasp at quoting the Bible for your kids to be coachable. Like I said, there's a lot of things that have gone on that Coach Adams has done to kind of disappoint Texas Tech.
So this isn't like
some donors,
the first thing or whatever.
I think I want to. No. This is kind of. I felt like that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And here in the Bible Belt, it's really upsetting, and a lot of people true things, and they want to be mad and everything. There's lots of things that we don't know. Okay.
Sure.
And everybody's like, well, I'm not going to be a fan. And don't give a shit. Okay. Don't care. If you're going to be that upset over him, thinking that it was the Bible thing.
Let me talk about that just real quick and see. So, because I struggle with that type of thing sometimes. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm all for what people call cancel culture. I call it social accountability. If you screw up,
cancel culture, but go ahead.
If you screw up, you deserve. So I'm very outspoken right now, for example, on Ezra Miller. Okay. Ezra Miller is the Flash in the WB movie coming out here soon. Not WB, DC movie coming out soon, right? He has had allegations of grooming kids for sexual abuse. I don't know what the correct term is there. He has been in a lot of trouble in bar fights and just starting random fights and finishing fights in bars in Hawaii and here in the States. And oh my gosh, WBD, that's what they are. Warner Brothers Discovery. WBD continues to let him be in this movie, but they're canceling so many other shows and movies. Crazy, right? So not because they're canceling them, not because Ezra's a good Flash. I feel like he was a great Flash from the movies. I loved him.
I loved him in the Flash. Like, yes. I have nothing against the character itself. I have everything against Ezra Miller and his character.
Yes, and for
not
that,
who he plays on screen.
Yes, and for that, I feel like the social accountability should be he shouldn't have a platform to garner more influence and power.
I like social accountability better than cancel culture.
So, and that's what I'm talking about, though. For me, they're both the same, but I do think that cancel culture has a more politically charged word where social accountability needs to be it, because you shouldn't be allowed to do that. You shouldn't be allowed to have those actions, and then we give you a platform for this so that because let's not get over that. Flash is a comic book character, and a lot of kids are going to love this stuff, right?
Right.
But I'm having a hard time right now because I'm like, man, I do love Michael Keaton. I do love the people that are doing this. Like, there's other people involved in this who have a job and who need to make money and who are impacted as well. It's not just Ezra. And so on one hand, I'm like, man, that social accountability needs to come to him, and they need to make a decision that puts him out of the ability to have that influence and power. But I have a hard time with that because on the other side, it's like there's real other people involved in this who didn't do that and who don't deserve any of that type of negative fallback, or however you want to say that. Yeah. And so it's like, man, I struggle with that. I struggle with that. You know what I mean? I do. So that's why I think, oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to, slaves obey your earth.
Did he say that?
I don't know what version. Like I said, I'm not sure, but it was the slaves and master type thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what version, but yeah, that's what he quoted. Yeah.
Oof. Rough. But so you see what I mean, though? I think so. But you were also saying for this guy, at least, this was, it might have been the camel that broke the back, but it wasn't the first thing that people were upset with him about in terms of, and maybe it wasn't like all racial.
A lot of things that people didn't know. Like this was the first racially insensitive thing that I've heard. The other things were just coaching. There was locker room things. There was personal things.
Okay. Yeah, and at that point, right, when you add whatever on the top, like it may have not been this, it could have been something else, and that would have been the camel.
But
that would have
been the
catalyst.
Here is just blaming it on that, and because of culture, it goes into nonsense, honestly. Shit that I don't like to.
But the problem is when you make enough noise, anything you do is going to be your potential downfall. So, like, I mean, not to say you shouldn't make noise, but you should make the right kind of noise, maybe, right? Like, I'm sure there's stuff that's going off. Yeah. So, anyhow, freaking Ezra, I'm going to be quiet on that. Dude.
I feel this. I'm right there with you about Ezra. I mean, I went from a love relationship to a hate.
Yes.
Like, I hate that he did that. I hate his actions.
Yes.
And I hate that they still want to continue to use him.
I do too. It drives me nuts. He took that young woman across state lines and held her up in a and this is like some crazy stuff too, Sandy. Like he held her up in like a ranch that, one of those kind of like, people who are like, I'm a sovereign citizen and stuff like that. Like,
oh, God.
He hid her in this place. It was trying to keep her away from her mom and from, oh my God. Anyway, that's just one of the, there was another one where.
Okay. So do you remember Marquise? I can't think of his last name. He sang in Sister Act, When Jesus Walked, and then he sings
the
like
young boy, the young man at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there was a TikTok that came out and said, been together 10 years and married for 2, happy anniversary. So if you calculate, the girl's only 18 now and they've been together for 10 years.
This current age date, like 2023?
Like this came out like last month.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so anyway, everybody's like, my math ain't mathing.
Have y'all ever experienced that? I know we said restaurants and we kind of touched on it, but anyway, I just feel going with the flow because, right, let's check this story out, okay? Sandy, I once had a friend who we were close. We were good buddies, right, and stuff. One day out of the blue, while I was up here in Illinois, he calls me and he tells me he's dating someone. Now, I was very happy for him, but I was super surprised because I was like, oh, wow. You found someone. Someone found you. Great. Okay. You found your someone. That's awesome. Okay. well, tell me what she's like. What's going on? And he's telling me everything. And I'm like, man, this sounds really cool, right? Really great. I'm really happy for you. At some point, he reveals that she's under 17. And I'm just like, come again? And he's like in his early 30s, late 20s.
Did you say, baby, these hands are rated E for everyone?
No, I for first, it took everything I had to just be like calm and then be like, how did this early 30s, late 20s? I can't remember exactly, but we had already moved up here. So I would have been, so 32 at least. I'd have been 32. He was about 2 years younger than me. Yeah, so he was about 30 then. And I was just like, how did this happen? What's, I got this crazy story about how I'm reclaiming my manhood and this is that. And I was just like, what are you saying? Who are you? And yeah, her parents are cool with it, man. And I'm like, I guarantee you her parents are not cool with this. I don't know any parent that would be cool with their 16-year-old daughter dating a 30-year-old man ever. And he was like, yeah, it's fine.
Maybe in some states, some southern states.
It was in Texas.
Or one that starts with
It was in
K.
Texas, Sandy.
I mean, there's some.
Anyhow, it blew my mind away. And it was so hard to see him as the original or old version. You know what I'm saying? Like after that, I was like, and I ended up cutting ties with him, stopped answering. And he had shared some, pretty vulnerable stuff with me in the past, and I appreciated his friendship and stuff, but at that point I was like, you need to stop this. I remember telling you need to stop. Like, you're a grown man. If you have to find a child to connect with like that, like, no, you need to stop. And then when he was all like, I'm reclaiming my manhood, it came from some religious thing he did, and I was like,
oh god,
you need to stop. I was like that was my overarching message.
And then they bring religion into it, which gives it a bad name. Oh gosh, I can't even.
It was so challenging. It was so hard. That's been the only time I've ever had to, or have had any kind of intersection, I guess, with that stuff, And so, yeah.
Okay, let me go back to this. Anita said they probably gave the coach an ultimatum to apologize, and he chose to resign. I think he kind of gave an apology, but I think he was like said, "Well, you fire you or you resign." And I had read different things that like he was supposed to resign today, so I kind of knew that it was coming. CPJ says, it said he was not just quoted that verse. He was reading the whole chapter. Poor choice, but that was not the only verse that he spoke according to them. Mm-hmm. The old man that he was preaching, maybe he should have changed the word slave to something else. He was reading the Bible. I do think he could have gotten his point across by referencing literally anything else. Poor choice, that was a straw that broke the camel's back. Mm. So I felt like he should have referenced Metallica, Puppet Master. It says, it does say in there, obey your master. But I think it would have been maybe come across a lot better if you quoted Metallica instead of the Bible. I mean, that's just me talking out lound. Sean says, Jamie 90. Hey, Rodimus, how's it going, sir? Thanks for hopping in here. But anyway, that's your Texas Tech update.
Yeah. And you know what, though? I don't know enough, like, so being on the outside, right? Hearing all this for the first time and everything.
Yeah.
And, it's easy to do the knee-jerk reaction, which is why I was kind of curious about some of the things. But when you point out, so in my mind, I'm like, yeah, so it's not just that he used this scripture or the terminology. It's that it was added onto the pile. And this guy, whatever his challenges have been, if it's been the non-wins, if it's been like you were saying something about the locker room banter whatever so all that stuff, it just keeps piling up. And this one was, so it's kind of like, man, if this is your problem, if this is what gets called out on you, like there were some problems there that you red flags. You just didn't try to resolve whatever was before, at least in my opinion, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's just been a lot of things coming.
Yeah. I just realized that. So the neon thing over your head, it looks so funny. It's been there the whole show, and I'm just like, I keep looking at it. I can't stop, and it's all like, look at it. You remind me of the, oh my gosh, what are they called?
Banana? Oh no, that's not a banana.
No, but the Chiquita that's on the sticker.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
What I was thinking.
You know what I'm talking about, right? the woman who's
that was like bananas. Yeah. Oh, so, 6 cents. Oh, wait, did you send them to me? Hold on.
Oh, sweet.
Jamie, go over to the. I sent you a message on the private chat. Bruh, these look so good.
Okay, I'm there. Whenever she gets these pictures loaded up over here, I'll show you all. Okay.
Did you hear me go over to the private chat real quick?
Yeah, I'm in there. I don't see anything. Oh, I haven't seen the pictures. I see the pictures.
No. In the private chat for us?
Oh, private chat.
On
Sorry.
the StreamYard.
Sorry. Yeah, give me a second. Let me pull it up.
Let's see. Carmen Miranda. What is that?
Hush your mouth.
What?
I'm reading it. I'm reading what you put in the private chat. That we can't tell everyone. You just told me to do that. I'm looking at it. I'm like, no, oh my gosh.
You knew what Carmen Miranda meant.
What's Carmen Miranda?
I mean, I don't know.
I didn't say that.
Joanne, tell us what you mean.
Carmen Miranda. While we're waiting to figure out what that is. Give me a second here to pull these pictures up.
Sandy, yeah, that's my new hat, Sean.
Sandy, yeah, there you go. Okay, so okay, so this is the batter, which looks so good. I know it looks like gray matter, but I'm sure the picture doesn't really do the justice of what you're mixing in there right now.
All I know is I want some gluten-free.
I know, but that looks so good. And then
your little tins are cute.
I know, right? I've seen those before. They're the little party ones from Walmart. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then the butter.
That is what I'm talking about. Butter makes it better.
She was the actress with the headgear of fruit back in the day. Carmen Miranda. Oh, cool.
Wow. That is so cool, awesome, Joanne. Thank you for that.
Let me look. I'm going to Google.
Yeah, that looks good. How many did you make of these, CPJ? You're making 50 of them? Is the recipe available online, or did you just have that special hookup? Because now you got me craving them.
It to you?
I'm going to have to make some this weekend.
She was a Portuguese-born Maria de Carmo Miranda de Cunha. Known professionally as Carmen Miranda. Portuguese-born Brazilian samba singer, dancer, Broadway actress, and film star from the late 1920s, nicknamed the Brazilian Bombshell.
I knew you were going to say Bombshell. I knew you were going to say that. I was thinking myself.
How cool. Oh, she is gorgeous. I definitely don't look like that. And that way everybody can see what Carmen Miranda looks like. Thanks for that. Like, we learn something new every day. Sean says, look good, Jamie.
What? She is on, hold on. Damn.
Wow. Rudy wants me to make them, but I ignored him. Gave a batch to Rudy.
You cannot ignore him for too long. We know you love Rudy. We know you're going to be like, I guess I have to make them. Tomorrow morning, you're going to be right up and early. You're going to go get some blueberries, and you're going to be showing us pictures. I know you, Joanne. You get
Jamie.
You get that man his you get that man his blueberry muffins.
I know that's right, Joanne. Make Rudy his muffins.
What do we got here?
What is that one?
The canister that she showed?
Yeah.
Butavan. I'll be honest, I don't know what that is exactly, but this looks like an emulsion
flavor enhancer for sweet baked products, Butavan. So
the next time you go to a store, here's a neat trick, and it's similar to this stuff. You can get what's called cookie. Oh shoot! If someone remembers, I think it's called cookie nip or cookie nibs.
Cookie nips. Ooh, that's
use it instead of like you would use vanilla extract for your recipes. You put this cookie nib in there, and you're talking about a flavor that just wow! It's an amazing flavor enhancer. Like it turns your stuff and it tastes so good. It's like, like Biscoff, the Biscoff cookies you get from the flights.
I can't have those because they're not good.
Oh, sorry, never mind. Moving on.
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
But thank you.
I want to know what was said in the private.
Is this for me, CPJ, or is this for me to share? Let me know, because if you want me to share, I can share it. But if not, I'm totally going to use this and do my jam.
Oh, it looks like she went to, there's a local store, and so I guess that's where she got it. Based on that recipe there that she shared.
Oh, really?
It's like whisked Lubbock.
Oh, I see it right there. Yeah. That's the jam right there. So this is the blueberries that that CPJ is using, and that is the jam. Man, I love blueberries. No joke. Love blueberries. My kids will eat them like they're freaking little pieces of candy all the time. We got to be careful when we get that. Not because
I love blueberries.
Yeah, not because they can't eat it, but because if we're not careful, no one else will get to eat them but the kids. And it's like, God,
yeah, that's kind of like Kate. I'm like, Kate, I brought these cherry tomatoes for a recipe.
Yeah, right.
Don't eat all of them.
And then he
eats and just leaves me 4. Ain't
yes.
no mofo
I didn't eat them all.
Just only calling 4.
I didn't eat them all.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with 4 freaking tomatoes?
Joanne, I think we're still good, Joanne. Maybe
I'm going to go check
still alive.
Facebook. I'm going to go check YouTube real quick to make sure.
CPJ says, Jamie, the Loveless Budavan is a secret ingredient for the 50-yard line, and you have to use those little mini frozen berries. We get it from whisked Lubbock.
Okay. I might have to make an order and get them
delivered up. Budavan really does make the difference. People have tried to use the buttery vanilla extracts, but something about this one. But you can use it in all cookies. Jamie, I will mail you some.
Girl.
Everybody needs a CPJ.
Everyone needs a CPJ.
Joanne, can you hear us now?
It looks like we were still broadcasting. It looks like we're still broadcasting. So thank you, CPJ. I will totally use that. And yeah, it looks good, though. I'm not going to lie. It looks real good. Did I share a picture of it or no?
Of what?
There we go.
Of the Budavan?
Budavan.
I love that word, Budavan. Like, let's go on my Budavan, girl. Budavan.
Okay. So I talked to y'all last week or the week before, I think, right? I've been watching. I told y'all, I said, man, I realized some information about bars and restaurants and stuff like that, right? And hold on, let me pause real quick and go back. I digress all the way back to the beginning. Sandy, I called you. Where's Joe? We don't know.
Where's Joe?
He might be at Whataburger.
In Chattanooga. He's in a conference right now.
He's with all the other photo geeks.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention that.
They're all swapping lenses.
He came in late. We've already mentioned it. Just kidding. No, he's in Chattanooga. He's at his conference. CPJ says share the recipe so everyone can have it. Totally okay to do.
Cool. So everyone get ready. Get your phones ready so that you can screenshot it because it's right there. Right there.
Take a picture.
So I'm going to leave that up there for a minute so people can do that. I want to tell a real quick story. So can I digress now? Look, I called you, Sandy, because have you seen, did you watch that video that I sent in our chat?
No, I told you I was at dinner and I literally walked
okay, and then okay. So I was messing around with my youngest and my niece tonight, and I got into one of my laughing fits because we were messing around and I was telling my younger daughter, I was like, "Are you a transformer?" I was like, "Are you one of the?" I was making that noise, and I was like, "If you can make that noise, you're a transformer." I'm just being silly. There's no rhyme for anything. It was just being silly. So then I was like, "Do you know what the transformer sounds like?" She says, "No." So I'm pull up YouTube, I find it, and I'm like, "This sound." I was like that, and she's like, "No." So I'm kind of just going through freaking YouTube. They reeled me in. So then I went ahead and swiped up. I saw one, and there was this one video where I'm going to show it. And if we get kicked off, we get kicked off.
And then just know that we enjoyed y'all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you for doing that. So I'm gonna show this because it absolutely, you will understand why I lost my ever-loving mind and could not stop.
While you pull that up, there's a funny thing. This meme that circulated 100 years ago, and there's a guy that's been in a car accident, and the guy's like this happened in Mexico. The guy's like hanging out of his window in this car accident, like he wasn't wearing a seatbelt and he flew out. And the reporters comes up to him and she's like, Choco, like, did you have a wreck? And he's like, no, pendeja, I'm a transformer. Funniest thing ever. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
One shall stand, one shall fall. One shall stand, one shall fall.
Yes, I've seen this. Oh my, I know exactly why you got the giggles. Yes.
And because we were talking about it tonight, I was like, I could not. And then my daughter's laughing, my niece is laughing, and we're all just laughing our heads off downstairs or upstairs. And it's just like, oh my gosh. So I couldn't stop laughing, guys. That's what made me lose my. That's why I called you, Sandy, because I was like, Sandy, my conversation to you was gonna be like, watch this right now, please. I can't stop laughing. Watch it. But you were busy, so.
But there I was being busy. Yeah. Okay, I found that meme. I'm gonna show it to you. That way people can laugh. Like I said, this meme's at least 100 years old.
Dang it! I need to zoom in on it. It won't let me zoom in. Let me download it real quick and see if I can zoom in that way.
Just like Joe. Joe, can you?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Okay.
Share.
This is a little meme that I was just telling Jamie about. Is it sharing? Okay, yeah. She's like, Choco. He's like, no, pendeja, soy un transformer.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's horrible. So, and then this brings me to several years ago. The boys and I went to Mexico City, and there was a street vendor selling a newspaper. And so I always feel like I need to buy from the street vendor. So I bought the newspaper. And I'm sitting on the subway reading my little newspaper, and then it gets to an automobile accident, and the camera person was literally like in the picture, the guy's dead, and in the picture you can see his soul leaving his body. Not really, but that's how dead he was. And I'm just like, Mexico has no censorship in their papers whatsoever. So
my gosh.
It's kind of like this lady interviewing the man in the wreck. Like, he hadn't even been saved yet.
Yeah.
She's going to go ahead and get that first interview. So anyway, so then I keep going to the news, and then the cartels have hacked up a body, and here they don't show that here in the U.S., but in Mexico, you got to see the brutality of it all. I mean, and so anyways, then you see this body that no longer has any limbs and it's just a torso laying in the street.
That's sad.
So, what were we talking about?
Why did you bring that up?
I don't know. We went from Transformers to Mexican. I transformed.
I'm sitting here waiting for the connection too, and she's just like, "That's crazy."
I have no idea why that one led to that one. There's no connection.
That's okay. It's okay. That's how we roll. That's how we roll. That's when you have your own thing. You can do it however you want. And I've started conversations sometimes and be like, wait a minute, I don't know where I was going with this, so let's just move on.
All the time. And I do have a 2023. Can we stop though?
Go for it, because I got a couple stories still.
So, it's 2020. It's 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Can we not post better pics of our services? For instance, this nail tech posted the pictures of all of her things that she can do with nails.
Okay.
But these pictures are blurry. I'm like, did you take these with the potato? Like, did you not wipe your phone screen? Why am I having to decipher your work? Clean off your screen, have a better presentation, and you might have more people flock to you.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
Look at this.
What?
I think that recipe will make like 96 little muffins.
What? I'll take it.
A lot of muffins.
Thank you, CPJ. Anyway,
that was mine, 2023.
I get that. Like,
it kind of goes takes back. Amazing pictures with her
Agreed.
boutique.
I think, like what Joe was talking about, how do you say it? Like people who post their pictures up purposely on out of focus now. That's a thing somehow. It's like the same thing for your. I would think though, like CPJ, when you take your pictures of your products and stuff like that, don't you want it to look good? Like, shouldn't it be crisp and clear?
Picture, best foot forward, so that nobody's having to ask you like,
yeah. And maybe you can't afford the best photo, but you definitely don't want the worst photo.
Okay, this day and age, these freaking phones, they're not really phones, they're cameras. They're this day and age, it's 2023.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable.
Oh, you know what? Like, now that you mentioned that, since let me just show you, because I agree.
It's not acceptable.
Look, earlier I was taking photos because I wanted to show you a recipe that I did, and I was like, that's not the recipe, but I've got friggin' a hole in my ceiling, by the way, if y'all just wanted to see that. But yeah, I have made the most. What happened?
Did a bowling ball come through?
No. This
did
was
a bowling ball go up?
A skeet. Skeet went up there and we just shot it. So anyway, but
what's a skeet?
One of the discs that you
like a clay.
Yeah.
Ball skeet motherfucker. Not one of those.
So check
this. Those potatoes look good. Are those the 20-day potatoes?
No, but I found a new potato that I've been trying out. You know what? We're segueing. Let me finish the first thought. First thought is going back with your 2023. This is from my phone. This is my phone. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, what? Like, how can you do that and not? If you're selling nail services,
why can't your nails look as good as the potatoes right here?
Exactly. I'd rather put a potato on my nail.
Even a camera from 5 years ago could do something this good. Anyway, so segueing again, we'll come back to your other one. I found this recipe for potatoes that I've been trying out, and it was amazing.
What kind of potato?
I started. I'm going to reshare this again. I found a potato. I started using yellow potatoes, the gold ones, right? You traditionally don't use those kind of potatoes. I use them because they cook easier than the russet potatoes. A russet potato needs a long time. Yes, the golden ones, the yellow ones, they cook faster. But I saw a video recently. No. I was reading an article. I was reading an article about, because I've always had I have a running list of things. Like, I'm always curious how baking or bicarbonate soda can change a recipe, like what it does and how it can change things, because it's better. It's not just for cakes and stuff. So hint, that's what we're talking about. I used baking soda on these potatoes. So I blanched them in boiling hot water. You only need like 5 minutes. Blanched them in hot water. You salt the water so that the potato will also be salty when you eat it. You put some baking soda. No. So if you didn't know, also, if you put salt into cold water, it heats up faster for whatever reason than if you didn't put salt. Okay.
Follow the science.
But anyway, so I put those potatoes in there. Then I rinsed the potato, or not rinse. I drain the water off. Like I said, about 5 minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes. Okay, no more than that. Drain the water, and then I put the potatoes in a big giant bowl, and you kind of just start doing that little toss thing, right? Put some oil in there, because this is the air fryer. Start doing the toss thing. When you do the toss thing, the oil, or not the oil, the potato, there's something on potatoes called pectin. It starts kind of sliding off. It sounds grosser than what it is, but it starts sliding off the potato. Your potato ends up getting kind of dabbed in that stuff, right? It starts getting on the top. And so then when you throw it in the air fryer, it is crunchy as can be. And I'm like, what in the world? Yes. Give me a second and see if you can hear this.
Baby potatoes with cheese on them. So good. Excuse me.
I recorded it. I don't know if it's going to play it now, but anyway, if it plays, it plays. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
You recorded the sound of it?
The sound of the potato, because I was like, I'm just curious what it sounds like. But I wish you could hear it, because it actually is super freaking... Oh, hold on. It is. It was so. I was just like, man.
CPJ says, I love Yukon Gold potatoes, and I love those for mashed potatoes. Yes, they're so good, mashed potatoes. Yes, I agree.
That's me scraping the potato.
Okay. Oh, my.
It was hot, so I'm kind of like, but I'm still chewing.
I was like, I hear a dragon in the background.
Sorry, it's a little breathy, but it's because it was hot.
That is hella crunchy.
It is. It really was. I was like, wow. I was so impressed by that because I was just like, and that's what I've been wanting for a long time. A crunchy potato that's salty and soft on the inside, crunchy on the outside, that I can make in the air fryer. This recipe is it. It's legit. Nice. It takes a bit to prepare, but it is good, y'all.
Anything that you do does take a bit.
That's true.
Not surprised.
That's true. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, so what was your other 2023, Sandy?
Oh, no, that was it. I just had the one.
Oh, okay.
Mopping off my potato-y camera.
I am. We don't have much time for it, so I won't tell the whole stories or whatever.
Yeah, because the whole reason Eric woke me up at 1.
Oh my gosh! This morning
he had a work call. Yeah, and so I'm like dying.
I thought he needed something from under the bed. So anyhow, we were
trying to die at that time, waking me up.
Oh,
I was only alive because it was work.
Right. Wink, wink.
Ain't no wink, wink here.
I have been watching these 2 shows, right? I talked about how I was watching Bar Rescue and Mission Restaurant Impossible, right? And I want to share some of my observations for these next week on the Social and Distancing Show. So join us next week where we'll come back and I'll talk about some of this stuff. But there's some ridiculous stuff out there from restaurants and bars. And I'm just going to give a quick rundown of my stuff and share some of the stats that I found out on some of the shows that I've been watching. I shared with Sandy and Joe. I was telling them, can you believe only X amount of % are successful and shut down and all that stuff from all these shows? And so I wanted to talk about the whole, observations that we have from it from an outside perspective. And when we visit restaurants and hear some of your thoughts on restaurants and what you feel makes restaurants successful or not. And, so that was kind of like the whole idea for tonight. I am by no means upset or disappointed with us not being able to talk about that because everything was fun tonight. But I do want it to take some time. And I know Joe would probably want to share his 2 cents on it too. So we can definitely come back next time.
Favorite restaurant had a cucaracha on their menu.
Ooh. That's so gross.
I think Eric and I are going to go on tomorrow. I think we are.
Okay.
Girl, I did not post anything at 2:30 a.m. You a lie. You a lie.
she but Snapchat.
I don't know if he will be on next week.
I don't have any reason to believe he won't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any. Yeah, I think he'll definitely be back this week. But I may not. On the other hand, now that I think about it, next week is spring break, right? Abby's are going road
tripping. Spring breaks are different for everyone.
Yeah,
yours is next week.
Next week. Mm-hmm.
I believe ours.
If I've got good connection and if I'm there.
Oh, okay.
I may. I'm not saying no, but
let's not look too fast forward to there then, and let's say go talk about tomorrow. What were we saying tomorrow?
Okay, so the Abbeys I think might be on. I've got to double check.
Oh, he wants you to come on. John wants you to be here next week. That's what that's for. He's saying boo because you may not be on next week. He wants you to be on.
No, I think I will be. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% ruled out. Rod, we enjoyed you. I'm so glad you've been on here. Have a good night.
Good night, Rod.
CPJ drone videos. I'm hoping that we can use it where we're going, and you have to stay tuned for my updates.
Gotcha. Tomorrow night.
But anyway, no, that's what I said. Tomorrow night at 9.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that. I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, I've said it like twice already. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse.
All right. Well, then cool. I can't wait to watch because I wanted to hear all the juicy bits from last week.
Yes, because it's called Talk Reddit to Me. Okay.
Oh, nice. Handy, nice. So everyone.
We got a heart. Oh, it's Anita. I thought it was Tron changing his ways.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Anita.
Well, he did change, I guess, since he didn't put
one on there.
He didn't put what we know him as to put.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I'm about to hurt myself. All right, so we'll see you tomorrow night. Can't wait to see that. I'm excited for it, and then we will see everyone again next Wednesday, and hopefully Joe will be here and Sandy can join. TBD. So with that, everyone, we love you. Don't forget to change your passwords. Turn on multi-factor authentication.
Multi-factor authentication. Just do it all.
Filthy animals.
Hey, but I haven't done it yet. I mean, yes, I have.
I'll preach it, but I won't do it myself. Stop coughing on me.
I'm trying to cough away.
All right. Bye, everyone. Good night. Love
y'all. Good night, everybody.